one of the most heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching things to watch. Children being separated from their parents at the border. Not illegal children, because no one's illegal.
That's Virginia's Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, addressing U.S. Border Patrols and ICE agents stripping thousands of children away from their parents. The situations are a result of President Donald Trump's executive order to separate the families accused of crossing borders illegally. But Fairfax says he's cautious about President Trump's newest executive order to refrain from separating families.
I'm hopeful, obviously, and some of the words that we heard today about the administration potentially changing course, we'll believe it when we actually see it and feel it. But the truth of the matter is it has never been more important in my lifetime for us to stand up for our values and for what we believe.
Yeah. The Lieutenant Governor and the 6th District Democratic Congressional candidate, Jennifer Lewis, were among the speakers for the Jobs and Economic Opportunity Flash Forum. The event was recently held at the Pale Fire Brewery. I caught up with the Lieutenant Governor to learn more about his stance on President Trump's immigration executive order.
Heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking to see the image of young kids being ripped away from their families, the parents not knowing where they are, some children being locked in cages. It's so un-American, it's so inhumane, frankly, and no child, no person is illegal. And what we've got to understand is that these are people with worth, with dignity, and they should be treated as such by the administration and by the law. And so I am hopeful that they will reverse this reprehensible policy and change it. But we've got to speak up, stand up for people who cannot stand up for themselves. And history is going to judge how we engage on this issue. And I believe that for those who want to pursue this zero tolerance policy, history is going to judge them incredibly harshly. But we have got to stand up with one voice and say this is unacceptable. We will not allow it here in the United States of America. It's not who we aspire to be when we rise to our highest ideals, and we are going to change that policy one way or another.
He says Virginia is playing a major role in the reversal of Trump's executive order to separate families.
Governor Northam announced just yesterday that we are going to pull back our resources from the border enforcement. We have National Guard on the border with a helicopter. We're pulling that back in part to show that we do not approve of this zero tolerance policy. We will not be a party to it. And so we are very proud of the actions that Virginia is taking. And there's more that we continue to do. Senator Mark Warner, Senator Tim Kaine, our representatives, Connolly and Beyer and McEachin and Bobby Scott, who's a friend and a hero of mine, they are all speaking out, looking to pass legislation to prevent this policy, to stop it, and to say that we are not going to allow that to continue here in this country.
He explained how Virginia has made history before.
I want to say thank you. I am so grateful for the support that you provided to me and to Governor Northam, who has done a tremendous job as our governor in just a few short months, to Attorney General Mark Herring, reelecting him. You elected each one of us with the most votes in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia in 2017. And what you did was you sent the message. We didn't just win an election, but you told people that we have a mandate for progress and a mandate for change.
The Lieutenant Governor told me about a couple of his administration's accomplishments.
We, as you mentioned, ran on a policy of economic security and opportunity for all Virginians to allow people to rise up no matter where they start, to achieve the American dream so that they and their kids can do better over time. And so one of the things we've gotten done in the General Assembly session, I'm very proud of this, is we passed Medicaid expansion into law, which will cover upwards of 400,000 Virginians with health insurance, some of them for the very first time ever. And these are, the majority of the people are working, so that was a really significant accomplishment. We were the 33rd state in the United States of America to have gotten that done, the first one since this new presidential administration, and so we are very proud of that work. And as Lieutenant Governor, I actually broke 4 ties in the process to make sure that the legislation was passed appropriately and was signed ultimately into law.
According to Fairfax, the unemployment rate has reached a new low.
We got some great news, actually. The unemployment rate now in the Commonwealth of Virginia is at 3.2%, the lowest in a decade. And so it has steadily gone down even since we assumed office in January. We were inaugurated January the 13th. With strong economic indicators and economic growth. When we passed our budget with Medicaid expansion, our AAA credit rating was reaffirmed, and the outlook was upgraded on our bond rating. And so Those are all incredibly positive signs for Virginia's economy. The outlook on the growth in jobs over the next 5 years is also tremendously positive.
He encouraged voters to continue the blue wave by electing Democratic candidates, including Jennifer Lewis.
And I want to say hi to your next Congresswoman.
The core message of my campaign has been to restore the power to the people and fix the culture in Washington. And part of that is standing up for workers' rights. I support workers being able to organize, to collectively bargain, and demand they be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their pay, their job title, or their wealth.
Lewis talked to me about the makeup of the 6th District.
You know, a lot of people say that this district is 2-to-1 Republican, but yet half of the people, more than half of the people, don't even show up to vote. So we want to really target those people who aren't even showing up to the polls, to talk to them. Why aren't you showing up? What do you care about? And then getting them to understand whatever they care about, how I can go about and fix that. With the support of all my campaign folks.
She reveals her campaign strategy is to be inclusive.
It's going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of boots on the ground, talking to a lot of voters, going up to the rural districts of the rural areas of our district, and making sure that we talk to as many voters as we can. So it's not anything that I'm taking for granted, because the 6th District is a unique district in itself. So of course I hope for the blue wave, but we're going to work really hard to make sure that it does happen.
Lewis says Democrats are working to turn the November elections into another blue wave of winners.
People are energized. People are ready to get out, canvassing, phone banking, and get good Democrats elected in November.
In Harrisonburg, Elaine Rackley for Breaking Through News.